This year marks the 100th anniversary of the sinking of the Titanic. For those of you who have been living under a rock, I'll give you a brief synopsis. At its time, Titanic was the largest moving object in the entire world. Its maiden voyage consisted of sailing from Southampton across the Atlantic and to New York. However, along the way, it collided with an iceberg, causing it to sink, taking 2/3 of the passengers and crew with it. The incident led to a number of talks and inquiries, to which resulted in an increase in safety measures, examples being making sure there were better searchlights and more lifeboats available for crew and passengers to escape on. The ship also has a huge legacy, with such adaptations as the James Cameron movie, not that one, television specials, and a musical adaptation. And before anyone asks, no, Jack and Rose are not in it, and neither is that Celine Dion song. But of course, we also have the trilogy of animated abominations. The Legend of Titanic, The Search for Titanic, or Tentaculio, and, in my case today, The Legend Goes On. Now before anyone gets on my back because of it, I'll say it. I know Nostalgia Critic has done a review of this. However, what makes this review different is that I'm reviewing the uncut version, with alternate songs, extra footage, and it actually surprisingly explains things a lot better. Of course, the film's still a pile of crap, no matter how much you cut from it. So let's take a look into the version Nostalgia Critic didn't see. Titanic, The Legend Goes On. Uncut. So, instead of starting out in a flashback, we actually begin in the English countryside, with a soundtrack that sounds like it's being played backwards. Come on, take a listen to that, and I dare you to tell me it's being played for it. Also, if this film's meant to be starting out in England, that doesn't look a thing like the English countryside. We are then introduced to our primary female role, Angelica, as she looks at the locket of her long-lost mother, only to be mocked by her poorly dubbed stepmother.
Moping over that picture. You're never going to find your precious mother.
Hello and welcome to the Rip-Off Safari! On your left, you will see a shameful rip-off of Cinderella. But that's not all, folks. There's bound to be tons more in this sinker of a movie. We then cut to Southampton, where we actually get to the boarding of the Titanic. But first, this. Yes, thank you, movie. Without that totally essential shot, I would have had no idea how a bird cleans itself in the morning. Titanic! Legend goes on. See how a bird flies slowly downwards. Ah! Amongst the passenger roster, we are introduced to Cruella? Horace? Jasper? What are you doing here?
Don't know. We don't know.
You're the antagonists of 101 Dalmatians. That's a good franchise. The passenger roster continues to expand after that, but first we get a little bit of...
Let's hope it's a smooth crossing.
Foreshadowing!
Who are you?
Well, he's some sort of rip-off. My sights are set upon the American Tail plagiarism. Although, isn't Angelica gonna question what a mouse is doing wearing clothes and pulling a longer bag? Although, this is a film that has this.
I'll be busting the moves and I'll be busting the rhymes.
Well, I guess it's up to Pongo and Perdita to keep Cruella in check. And look, they're with the one thing that kept all the males in the audience awake.
What a beauty! What a face!
Toothache, Gaston.
No one gets horrible voice artists like Gaston! Like said, this is Gaston, butler to our leading man, William, who's on the Titanic to make a name for himself in America. It's a shame, really, since he's got all the personality of a table.
You mustn't dwell on her, Nanny. You're on a sea voyage too. Excuse me, madam. You were talking to a young lady. Where's she gone?
Also, did you know that William's meant to be Scottish? I'm sure you would have figured that out by now with such a convincing accent he's putting on.
How can I find her? I ran into her in a first-class corridor, but she's not among the passengers up there. And now I just saw her here in third.
Come on, did anyone go to an acting school in this? I mean, Dick Van Dyke for Mary Poppins. He may not have had the most convincing Cockney accent in the world, but he has two differences from William. One, he actually bothered, and two, Mary Poppins was a good movie! Heck, even Colin Mockery in Whose Line Is It Anyway put on a more convincing Scottish accent than this guy.
I dream of my first building going up in America.
That's not the only thing you dream of having go up one day, is it? Oh lord, we've got characters from Aristocats, Dumbo and Looney Tunes boarding this crate. Is no one safe from plagiarism?
I'm coming! Be with you in a jiffy!
Apparently not.
Sorry, Captain. Special Detective Sam Bradbury, Sam to my friends, a threat to my enemies.
Oh, what a relief. I was just telling the captain.
You know, apart from a good script, what I find this film really lacks is a backing soundtrack. You know, music that plays in the background to settle a mood or set up an emotion or something. However, a majority of the time in this, it's just the characters walking and talking in complete silence. I mean, would it really have killed them to just add a little bit of backing in? Or did they run out of music files to put in reverse with their budget of 10 quid? Nah, screw it, I'll do it myself.
I go unnoticed. Right, Captain?
Ready for sea, sir. All right. Ahead slow.
Aye, sir.
And go easy pulling out of the harbour.
Anyway, it seems Sherlock Holmes here is on the Titanic, on the hunt for Cruella de Vil, who's hired Horace and Jasper to steal jewellery of passengers on board the ship. Her training goes to no avail.
Brains between you to fill a sparrow's skull. Hopeless idiots. Dumbbells, I despair.
I don't think that was scripted. I think she was complaining to the writers and they just happened to have a mic on at the time.
That's the way to do it, boys. Understand?
Ah, too close!
Jeans so tight, they bite.
Meanwhile, back in the Cinderella story, the stepmother gets Dopey from Snow White here to summon Angelica, as apparently due to her poor packing skills, the stepsister's gowns are ruined and torn. Ugh, keep your fat slags to yourself.
You didn't pack our clothes properly, you clumsy girl. Pick up those bits of broken china at once.
You know, by today's standards, a first-class room on the Titanic would cost around about £50,000 to £60,000. I really don't think it would be a financially wise idea to break bits of cruise line china like that. Besides, they're going to be in a much better condition than you'll be after this sinking. But because of her mistake, Angelica, a servant girl of a mean stepmother and sisters, is forbidden to go to the ship's ball, as she has nothing to wear. Originality? What's that? And to make matters more serious, Angelica has also lost her locket. So, instead of waiting till the Lost and Found office was open, she heads right up onto the bridge, where apparently there isn't any security so anyone and their uncle can get on it.
You just left, miss. But you can tell me. I'm the first officer.
Really? You look absolutely nothing like the actual Murdoch. In fact, his appearance kinda makes me uneasy. Almost as if he was some sort of T-1000 or something. Especially with that thick scowl on his face.
Rest assured, you'll get it if we do.
Elsewhere in the cargo hold, the animal... Oh my god, it's coming up! Take cover!
If it hadn't been for you, I would be now in someone else's digestion.
Well, from now on, try not to strike out on your own without checking with me first.
Wait,
Because you
did,
see, I'm
did he actually make a
responsible for how the
valid
animals
response?
behave on this
Hey! Maybe he won't break into the rap after.
Do you know? Do you really know? Do you know?
Hello,
Yes or no?
different
Yes or
voice
yes or no?
artist.
Do you know?
And hello,
Do you know?
reused animation.
I'm
I
the
can
boss.
count on seeing you a lot after
The rest
this.
of the band. Better stop it if you're breathing. Fishes here, it's time for freezing. Cause instead of being a hero, you know you might be.
Oh jeez, this rap is just bland. I mean, forgetting the fact that unless this dog has some sort of connection to Einstein from Back to the Future, and being capable of knowing what a rap is, this movie's attempt to get down with the cool kids is failing miserably. What is it with kids films that think if it does a rap or hip-hop number, the audience will automatically find them cool? It doesn't work that way. If you make nods that are entirely based on pop culture, when the movie is watched by future generations, it only makes that said film look irrelevant and dated, with your kids asking what the heck that reference was based on. But that doesn't mean I'm against making reference jokes, just so long as they don't make up a majority of your joke material. We then have... another pointless scene between the mouse and the chef, which probably would have worked better as an animated featurette. Also, according to this movie, this is the only chef in the kitchen. I'm sure he's going to be very busy, what with having to cook for over 2,000 people. Hey look, it's how the writers came into work when they wrote this. We cut back once again to the mice, and if it sounds like I'm going all over the place with this story, that's not my fault. This film has a hard time trying to stick to a single plot. There are several going on at once, and I have no clear idea who the real focus of the film is. Is it Angelica and William's story? Is it Cruella and Sherlock Holmes? Is it the ship's animals? Or even the one with Gaston and Lucina? The film has a hard time deciding on it. Okay, there were over 2,000 people on the Titanic, and there are tons of stories to be told. But this isn't real accounts. This is made up for the sake of children. I doubt they will be able to pay attention or be able to keep up with 6 plots going on at once, which differentiate between one another every 4 minutes. So, while I'm trying to figure out who the heck this movie's about, allow me to give you some light entertainment using footage from a much better source to bear the Titanic name. Kylie Minogue's about to save the Doctor from a man who's a head in a box. She tries to kill him with a forklift. Olay!